With a massive acting portfolio spanning over 26 years, both in Hollywood and the wrestling world, few actors are going to be as iconic as Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. And today, we're going to be taking a look at his acting career by asking all those hard-hitting journalistic questions, like how to get a start, what films are coming out next, and just what are this legend's plans for the future. Be sure to stick around because later we're going to take a look at his 3 highest grossing films. Before we can go to the highest grossing films, let's take a look at his early life. Born in May of 1972 in California, Johnson's early life had him moving around quite often, attending a bunch of different high schools in places as varied as Hawaii, Tennessee, and Pennsylvania. Moving all across the country did not prevent him from competing in a wide array of sports, however, with football and wrestling being The Rock's go-to activities. He would go on to attend the University of Miami, where his team would win the 1991 National Championship. He had big dreams to go on and dominate the NFL, but after going undrafted in the 1995 draft, he decided to pursue a different path. This new path would lead him right to the WWE wrestling arena. His very successful wrestling career would eventually land him in the WWF Championship title of 1998. Johnson's wrestling career is massive and spans quite a few years, so if you would like a video just on his wrestling career, be sure to leave a comment down below. During his time in the wrestling ring, he would also begin to take a few acting roles, including an episode of Star Trek Voyager and a role as the Scorpion King in 2001's The Mummy Returns, and 2002's Scorpion King, which was his first leading role. The Mummy Returns was a fairly successful film, bringing in $443 million on a $98 million budget. While The Scorpion King was cheaper with a $60 million budget, it still managed a nice gross of $180 million for the studio. After stepping away from the wrestling ring in 2004, Johnson went on to double down on his acting career. Unfortunately, the first few films that he was a part of were not the biggest box office hits. 2004's Walking Tall starred The Rock with a $46 million budget, although it was only able to gross about $57 million. It's not terrible, it's just not good though. Movies such as 05's Be Cool and 06's Gridiron Gang would go on to do decently, grossing a couple million more than their budgets, but he would also go on to have his fair share of flops early on. 2005's Doom would cost the studio $60 million to make, but unfortunately it only brought in $58 million. Along with the other film Southland Tales, which was a smaller indie film, it actually managed to do a reverse magic trick of turning $17 million into only $375,000. 2007 would see Dwayne Johnson in his most successful movie since he left the wrestling world. For this film, he would team up with a small indie studio. You may have heard of them. It's called Disney. They put $22 million budget into making The Game Plan. This film actually went on to make $147 million off that tiny budget. Not only did it 7x its original budget, but it also showed that Johnson could do quite well in a more family-friendly type of movie. Prior to this, he'd had the occasional flop, but from here on out, it was nothing but money. Films such as 2010's Tooth Fairy, which managed to magically turn $48 million into $112 million worldwide. Even the smaller budget ones, such as 2013's Snitch, turned $15 million budget into nearly $58 million. That's a 4 times growth on their investment. By far his biggest film would race into theaters on the big screen of 2011. Fast 5 has Dwayne Johnson playing federal agent Luke Hobbs as he tries to track down Dom and Brian. This film had an astronomical budget of $125 million. Now this was definitely worth it since it brought in over $625 million in return. Fun fact, this is only the 5th highest grossing Fast and Furious film. Want to know what the best selling one is? Be sure to click on our video here to find out. If Dwayne Johnson was making money before, in 2011 he really hit the lottery. Movies like G.I. Joe Retaliation, Fast and Furious 6, and Hercules all had 9-figure budgets, and each movie was able to bring in over double that at a minimum. While Fast and Furious 6 brought in an insane $788 million, the actor was far from done, Furious 7, San Andreas, Moana, Baywatch, Jumanji, Rampage, and Skyscraper. There's just too many to mention. And each one made big money. With all these huge successes everywhere, which one was his highest grossing film? We know his third highest grossing film was actually 2017's Jumanji. This movie went on to make $962 million. Number 2 is actually The Fate of the Furious, which is also from 2017 and brought in over $1.2 billion. That's right, billion with a capital B. 2017 was certainly a nice year for his bank account. But his biggest film so far is Furious 7. This 2015 film would go on to bring in $1.5 billion. This is actually the 9th highest grossing film of all time. In total, he amassed a net worth of over $360 million. It's no surprise that Dwayne Johnson is one of the most popular actors out there, and he's such a very busy man. Currently, he has 3 movies announced. One's in pre-production and 2 are filming. Recently, he did finish Netflix's film Red Notice and Disney's Jungle Cruise, which are both set for release in just a few weeks. In total, his film catalog has grossed over $10.5 billion worldwide. And with this future lineup, who knows how high that could climb. So I just have to know, what is your favorite movie starring Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, and why is it The Scorpion King? Or maybe you're a bigger fan of different action titles, such as San Andreas and Furious 7. Maybe you like the family movies, you like Moana and Jumanji, good on you. But maybe you just want to see him back in the wrestling ring. Be sure to let us know with a comment down below. Also, if you like content like this, consider subscribing. It would really help the channel out a lot. Once again, for the Financial Fixation, I'm your host Dominic, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one.